What's up, everybody? Let's talk greedflation and doom spending. Yeah, or greedflation with, respect of vacationing and doing photography trips and things I've noticed. Because I'm going to walk you through some of these things that might save you some cash on how to plan your trips in that. Just to give you a rough indication. So greedflation, some people will argue, they'll mention there's no such thing as greedflation because if you can get the price out of somebody, then do it. But I guess kind of one of the definitions or the philosophy behind it is everybody sees everyone else raising prices, so they raise prices because they can get it too. And it's relative, right? So if everybody raises a price in one segment of an area, everybody else can and get, it's almost kind of like price locking in and fixing or price fixing that. So some of the things, if you're looking at traveling and getting a little bit better deal on it, there's huge prices. Ever since the pandemic broke out, this channel started in 2020 from the pandemic. And the first year, me traveling on normally some of the big parks I go to was pretty normal, pretty average for the thing. Hotel prices were like $100 a night or something like that. Car rentals, you guys have seen on this channel. I've rent some cars, SUVs, for about 5-6 days. It was like $500, and that was generally the case. But when in 2021 broke out, oh my God, everything went crazy. So to give you an indication, an SUV at that time that was $550 was $1,200. It's come back around, but they indicated they couldn't get the SUVs in, and it was a big hassle. But the rooms went crazy from 2020 to 2021, 22. Give you an indication, my Yellowstone trip in 2013, rented a 4-bedroom little cabin for 4 people. And that was for 5 nights, roughly $1,000. That was about $200 a night. Not a bad deal. Very nice. Right outside West Yellowstone. Talked to a woman for probably an hour. She was from my hometown, small town. So we were kicking it around, just talking about everything back in 2013. So in 2022, 23, like 8-10 years later, I call her up and immediately I recognized her voice. And I say, hey, you remember me? And we started talking it out. And I said, hey, I want to rent that cabin again or something smaller because there will be only 2 people this time. What's the prices? And she's like, well, for that cabin you had, I'm looking you up here. It's $3,200 for a week or 5 days. I was like, are you freaking kidding me, man? Well, it's been and she's kind of like trying to cover. Well, it's been a while, since, prices right after you stopped in 2013, prices really went up. I said, but it was like $899, close to $1,000. I go, it's $3,200 now? I said, who's doing this? Oh, well, and then she kind of like, let's point to the other bad guys, right? And she goes, the lots, the lands areas that we have, just the tent areas in Yellowstone, the plot of land with nothing is $200 a night. Just to put your tent down. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. That's like $25 or $50 at the time, right? I said, what's going on here? And she's kind of like, well, I'll tell you, all of us people that, we have the travel advisory report, and they were saying that all this COVID money and everybody's got a lot of money to spend. So they basically were telling us to jack our rates up 2 and 3 times the price because we'll get it. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, oh no, man. And you just see, it's like, okay, I see it. You get it. People are paying for it, and we'll get into doom spending. But this is to me, it's a classic, almost price fixing, greedflation and that. And the price for this, believe it or not, this is kind of common. So in some of the other parks that I go to, smaller parks, just recently, October of last year, it was about $100 a night for this place, $112. And then I stayed at the same place in April, and it was like $99. This October, so about 9 months later, $250 to $280 a night. Same rooms, same service, same everything. And so, you kind of watch it. I watch the prices. We'll get into some of the things to kind of, talk about the price saving aspect, but unbelievable. unbelievable. So I'm staying next to the next place right next door, which actually has a better rating. It's supposed to be a little newer, and that's $105. So yeah, it's crazy the amount that prices are varying still to this day. And this is one of the things, people aren't asking themselves why. Why are the prices going crazy? Why is it all over the place? Yes, we have inflation, but some of this is just ridiculous. And I think a lot of it is with travel. I go during the off times, which will definitely save you money, but it's also whatever they can get, whatever they can push out. People will see it and do it. And the government put out a lot of COVID money or pandemic money, and people had that and were spending that and more in the Yellowstone places, especially $200-$300 a night and just going on and on. These guys spare no expense, just buy it up. Plane tickets, the same thing. Not a big flyer, but you can tell, it's really important if you look at the prices on the plane tickets and price it out and keep averaging it out. That being said, guys, it is pretty brutal for how much things have gone up. And here we kind of swing back around to the doomsday spending. Now, if you follow some guys that do a lot of traveling on YouTube, they'll kind of give you the ins and outs. And I heard this from a few different travelers saying nobody has any money, but they're still spending. And this guy travels all over the place. It's kind of like his YouTube channel. But he goes, yeah, I'm talking to these guys. And he goes, their credit cards are like maxed out and they're still spending. He goes, this is bad, guys. This is bad. Now, if we looked at the S&P 500, the stock market's at an all-time high. Housing's at an all-time high. Everything is up there because everybody is spending. They're looking at credit card debt way up. The delinquencies are going through the roof. JP Morgan, everybody just put out a report on this. And this guy who started talking about doomsday spending. He goes, a lot of the guys I know aren't planning on paying this back. They're just going to go and hope they hit the lottery, hope they hit something or a job comes through, but they're spending like there's no tomorrow. And that's what we're seeing with the price of people taking these trips. We're looking at airline prices. People are paying it. And it's insane because someone, obviously that's responsible. Like this lady's like, hey, do you want to pay $3,200 for, a 5-day stint? Nope. No, thank you. You gotta be realistic. You don't want to, anybody that's halfway, most of the people on this channel, guys, are old, right? Like I know the stats. We're 50s plus, and you want to make an older guy angry, try to take advantage of them and double the price on something. He's got time like, no, I'm not going to do this. And so some of the tips I can kind of give you to look forward. Go off times. Like going from, say, mid-September to mid-October, it's half the price on a lot of these places. Half the price. Look at your plane tickets early. Get a gauge, get an average price year over year. Just know, because especially it really happens year over year. If you look at your plane ticket prices, you'll know what a good price is and not. Because right now they're just looking at someone, you could go a year out and get a plane ticket pricing and it would be really high. And then 2 to 3 months before you got a good price. For hotel rooms, you can play risky or you can kind of do it early up. So generally I look 9 months to a year in advance. Rough it, and usually 2 to 3 months is when they really start coming down. They got a good indication of the price, and you can get in before it gets sold out. Sometimes they'll sell out and there won't be any room to negotiate. But if you wait for a sellout and they really aren't full, you can get a great deal. But if they only have two rooms left, they'll probably jack up the price. They're like, screw it, we only got 2 left. Let's make as much money we can here. So that's the situation. Now, car rentals, those are ones I've watched. SUVs are expensive. Usually 6 months, 9 months out, you get the high price, and probably after the holidays, it is huge. It's like half price after the holidays. So 2 to 3 months, generally, let's say 2 months, 8 weeks has been a good one for me to hit the price and pay, again, probably 25% less, 50% less than during, obviously the holidays, Memorial Day, Labor Day, After and before those 2 days generally is your better price for everything. And so I just kind of want to put this out there, the whole doom spending, greedflation. Unfortunately, I mean, it's one of those things. If people don't have money, they won't be spending it. Sadly, Americans have just been spending crazy amounts of money, buying Sony PlayStations, electronics at 2 and 3 times the price on eBay, something hard to find. It's like money's no object, right? And that's unfortunately what's, got us into this position of everything going crazy. In fact, there's a CEO was talking about he couldn't believe that people were still spending this much money and getting less and less. And they said, well, what's your forecast? He goes, it's going to be bad once this settles down. We'll definitely flatten out. Well, I guess if we save our money and get that, maybe we can get some good deals on some hotels and cheaper travel. Because right now it's still a little rough. The places that are $280, another $180 over what I normally spend a night. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But let me know what your guys's, your guys's travel plans have been and that, and your experiences. I'm sure you have. Everybody I know has had some kind of goofy experience with the pricing on all this stuff. Put it down below if you like this stuff. Hit that like and subscribe. I'll see you later.